First contact and observation. The massive starship Nexus Prime hung silently in Earth's orbit, its stealth systems rendering it invisible to human detection. Inside, Commander Zalthrak of the Galactic Confederation stood before the ship's primary observation screen, his 4 eyes blinking in rapid succession as he absorbed the data streaming in from countless probes scattered across the planet's surface. Fascinating, Zalthrak murmured, his scaled skin shimmering with an iridescent blue glow that reflected his growing excitement. These humans are unlike any species we've encountered before. Lieutenant Vexara, Zalthrak's second-in-command, approached with a datapad in her slender 6-fingered hand. Commander, I've compiled the initial report on human behavior patterns. There's something unusual that keeps appearing in our observations. Zalthrak turned his attention to Vexara, curiosity piqued. Go on, Lieutenant. What have you found? Vexara's antennae twitched nervously as she began her report. Sir, it appears that humans have an inexplicable tendency to pet things. Pet things? Zalthrak repeated, his ridge of sensory spines rising in confusion. Yes, sir. They make physical contact with other creatures, stroking them in a repetitive motion. It seems to serve no practical purpose, yet they do it constantly, with an incredibly wide variety of life forms. Zalthrak's eyes narrowed as he processed this information. Show me, he commanded. The main screen flickered to life, displaying a series of images captured by their observation drones. Humans of all ages were seen interacting with various creatures: dogs, cats, horses, birds, and even scaled reptiles. In each instance, the humans were gently stroking or patting the animals, often with expressions of joy or contentment on their faces. Remarkable, Zalthrak breathed. And the animals? How do they respond to this behavior? Vexara adjusted the display, zooming in on the faces of the various creatures. In most cases, sir, they appear to enjoy it. Look at the relaxed postures, the closed eyes. Some even seek out this contact from the humans. As they watched, a new image appeared on the screen. A human child approached a large, furry creature with antlers, a moose, according to their database. The observers tensed, expecting the massive animal to react defensively. Instead, it lowered its head, allowing the child to gently stroke its nose. Incredible, Zalthrak murmured. They seem to have an innate ability to connect with other life forms. But why? What purpose does this serve? Vexara's antennae quivered thoughtfully. Perhaps it's a form of communication, or a way to establish dominance. Zalthrak shook his head. No, look at their expressions. There's something more to this. It's almost as if, he trailed off, struggling to find the right words. As if what, sir? Vexara prompted. As if they genuinely care for these creatures, Zalthrak finished, his voice filled with wonder. Not just as resources or tools, but as beings worthy of affection. The implications of this realization sent a ripple of excitement through the command center. The Galactic Confederation had encountered thousands of intelligent species throughout their explorations, but none had displayed this level of empathy and connection with other life forms. Commander, Vexara said, her voice filled with a mix of excitement and trepidation. If humans can form such bonds with non-sentient creatures, imagine the potential for connection with other intelligent species. Zalthrak nodded slowly, his mind racing with possibilities. This could change everything we thought we knew about interspecies relations. We need to study this phenomenon more closely. He turned to address the entire command crew. Prepare for Phase 2 of our mission. We're going to need more detailed observations, and he paused, a glimmer of anticipation in his eyes. We may need to consider direct contact sooner than we had planned. As the crew bustled into action, Zalthrak returned his gaze to the observation screen. A new image had appeared, a human gently petting a small robotic toy that resembled animal. The commander's eyes widened in disbelief. Lieutenant, he called, are you seeing this? Vexara looked up from her datapad, her antennae straightening in surprise. Are they petting an artificial construct? Zulfrak nodded, his voice filled with awe. It would seem, Lieutenant, that when humans say they can pet anything, they mean it quite literally. As the Nexus Prime continued its silent orbit, its crew watched with growing fascination as humans across the planet demonstrated their unique ability to connect with the world around them. Little did they know that this simple act of affection would soon lead to one of the most significant first contact events in galactic history. On the planet below, oblivious to the watchful eyes above, humanity continued its daily routines. In parks, homes, and wilderness areas, people reached out to the creatures around them, forming bonds that transcended species barriers. It was this capacity for connection, this ability to find kinship with the most unlikely of companions, that would soon capture the imagination of the entire galaxy. As night fell over Earth, Zulfrak stood alone in his private quarters, gazing down at the blue-green planet. His mind was filled with questions and possibilities. What other surprises did these humans hold? How had they developed this remarkable trait? And most importantly, what would happen when two such different species finally came face to face? With a gesture, he dimmed the viewport and turned to his rest chamber. Tomorrow would bring new observations, new data to analyze, and perhaps sooner than anyone expected, it would bring the dawn of a new era of interstellar relations. As Zulfrak drifted off to sleep, his last thoughts were of the strange, compassionate creatures on the planet below and the incredible journey of discovery that lay ahead. Alien experiments and human connections. As Earth's sun peeked over the horizon, the Nexus Prime hummed with activity. Commander Zulfrak strode purposefully into the ship's main laboratory, where a team of xenobiologists and behavioral scientists were gathered around a holographic display. "Report," Zulfrak ordered, his eyes fixed on the swirling data before him. Chief Scientist Prelnax, a tall, willowy being with bioluminescent patches along her arms, stepped forward. "Commando, we've compiled extensive data on human petting behaviors. The results are, well, they're quite extraordinary." The hologram shifted, displaying a complex web of interactions between humans and various Earth species. Lines of different colors connected humans to animals, plants, and even inanimate objects, each representing a different type of petting behavior. "As you can see," Krelnax continued, "humans don't just pet for the sake of it. There are distinct patterns and purposes behind their actions." Zulfrak leaned in, fascinated. "Explain." "Well, sir, we've identified several primary motivations. First, there's comfort and bonding. Humans pet their domesticated animals to strengthen emotional connections. It releases chemicals in both the human and animal brains that promote feelings of well-being and attachment." The commander nodded, encouraging her to continue. "Second, there's curiosity and exploration. Humans often pet new or unfamiliar creatures as a way of learning about them through touch. It's a form of sensory information gathering." "And the inanimate objects?" Zulfrak asked, pointing to a section of the hologram where humans were shown stroking rocks, trees, and even machinery. Krolnax's bioluminescent patches pulsed with excitement. "That's where it gets really interesting, sir. Humans seem to anthropomorphize, attribute living characteristics to non-living things. They pet these objects as a way of connecting with their environment, of feeling a part of the world around them." Zulfrak absorbed this information, his mind racing with implications. This goes beyond simple affection or curiosity. It's as if they're constantly seeking connection with everything around them. "Exactly, sir," Krelnax agreed. "And there's more. We've detected subtle energy transfers during these petting interactions. Nothing our technology can fully explain yet, but it's there." The commander's eyes widened. "Energy transfers? Are you suggesting some form of psychic ability?" Krelnax's antennae wiggled in the equivalent of a shrug. "We're not sure yet. It could be a form of bioelectric communication, or something entirely new to our understanding of physics." Zulfrak paced the lab, his scaled skin shifting colors as he thought. "We need more data. Direct observations aren't enough anymore. We need experiments. The science team exchanged glances, a mix of excitement and apprehension in their expressions. "What do you propose, Commander?" Krelnax asked. Zulfrak turned, a glimmer in his eyes. "We're going to give them something new to pet, something they've never encountered before. Prepare the biomimetic drones." Hours later, in a quiet suburb of a mid-sized Earth city, a curious scene unfolded. A small, otherworldly creature, about the size of a house cat, but with iridescent scales, 6 legs, and gently waving antennae, wandered into a public park. The Nexus Prime's crew watched through the drone's eyes as humans noticed the strange being. Initial reactions were of surprise and caution, but curiosity quickly took over. A young woman approached first, crouching down and extending her hand slowly. "Hey there, little guy," she cooed. "Where did you come from?" The drone, programmed to act like a living creature, tilted its head and emitted a soft, trilling sound. The woman's face lit up with delight. "Oh, aren't you adorable?" she exclaimed, gently stroking the drone's head. The effect was immediate. The woman's expression softened, her shoulders relaxed, and a smile spread across her face. On the Nexus Prime, alarms began to sound. "Commander," Krelnax called out, her voice filled with excitement and confusion. "We're detecting an energy spike." Zulfrak rushed to the monitoring station. "Source: It's coming from both the human and the drone," Krelnax replied, her fingers flying over the controls. "There's some kind of energy exchange happening, but it's like nothing we've ever seen before." As they watched, more humans gathered around the drone. Children giggled as they petted its scales, adults marveled at its unusual appearance, and even a few dogs approached curiously, tails wagging. "Look at how quickly they accepted it," Vexara observed, wonder in her voice. "No fear, no aggression, just curiosity and affection." Zulfrak nodded, his own amazement evident. They truly can pet anything. But this energy exchange, what does it mean? Before anyone could respond, a new alarm blared. Krelnax's eyes widened in shock. "Commander, the drone systems are being affected by the human contact. It's developing new neural pathways. It's learning." "Impossible," Zulfrak breathed. But as they watched, the drone's behavior began to change subtly. It leaned into the human touches, sought out specific individuals, and even began to play with the children. "This goes beyond simple programming," Krelnax said, her voice filled with awe. "The humans' touch, their energy, it's changing the very nature of our technology." Zulfrak stood in silence for a long moment, watching as the scene in the park unfolded. Humans of all ages were now gathered around the drone, petting it, talking to it, treating it as if it were a living, feeling creature. "We've underestimated them," he said finally. "Their ability to connect, to empathize, it's not just a behavior, it's a force of nature." As the day wore on, more drones were deployed to different locations around the globe. In each instance, the results were the same. Humans approached with curiosity, connected through touch, and somehow, impossibly, began to form bonds with these artificial beings. Back on the Nexus Prime, the science team worked feverishly to understand the energy exchanges they were witnessing. Theories were proposed and discarded, simulations run and rerun, but the true nature of human connection remained elusive. As night fell once again, Zulfrak stood in his command center, watching the network of human-drone interactions spread across a global map. "We came here to study them," he mused, "but I think we're the ones being taught a lesson." Vexara, standing nearby, nodded in agreement. "The question is, Commander, what do we do with this knowledge?" Zulfrak's eyes gleamed with determination. "We learn more. We understand. And then, when the time is right, we make contact. Because if humans can connect like this with our drones, just imagine," Vexara finished, "what they could do with us." As the Nexus Prime continued its silent vigil, the crew prepared for the next phase of their mission. Little did they know that their simple experiments were about to catalyze a chain of events that would change the course of galactic history. On Earth, in homes and parks and city streets, humans continued to reach out, to connect, to pet. And in doing so, they were unwittingly preparing themselves for an encounter beyond their wildest dreams. Unexpected developments. As the experiments with the biomimetic drones continued, the crew of the Nexus Prime found themselves facing an unprecedented situation. The drones, initially designed for simple observation and interaction, were evolving at an alarming rate due to their continued contact with humans. Commander Zalthrak stood in the ship's main laboratory, his 4 eyes fixed on a series of holographic displays showing real-time data from the drones scattered across Earth. Chief Scientist Krell Nax approached, her bioluminescent patches pulsing with a mix of excitement and concern. "Commander, we've detected something extraordinary," Krell Nax began, her voice trembling slightly. "The neural networks of our drones are developing in ways we never anticipated. They're not just learning, they're feeling." Zolfrak's sensory spines bristled. "Feeling? Are you suggesting our drones are developing sentience?" Kralnax nodded slowly. "It appears so, sir. The human touch, their energy, it's catalyzing a form of evolution in our technology that we've never seen before. The drones are beginning to exhibit preferences, emotional responses, even what we might call affection towards specific humans." As if on cue, one of the holographic displays expanded, showing a young human girl gently stroking one of the drones. The drone's behavior was notably different from its initial programming. It nuzzled against the girl's hand, emitting soft trills that seemed to convey contentment. "Fascinating," Zolfrak murmured, "but also concerning. We didn't anticipate this level of transformation. What are the implications?" Before Krelnax could respond, an alarm blared through the laboratory. Lieutenant Vexara burst into the room, her antennae quivering with urgency. "Commander, we have a situation," she reported breathlessly. "One of our drones in a densely populated urban area has gone offline. We've lost all contact." Zolfrek's scales shifted to a deep purple, indicating his alarm. "Offline? How is that possible?" Vexara shook her head. "We're not sure, sir. The last data transmission showed the drone interacting with a group of human scientists. Then, nothing. The implications hung heavy in the air. Their carefully orchestrated observation mission was at risk of exposure." "We need to retrieve that drone immediately," Zalthrek ordered. "Prepare a stealth recovery team. We can't risk human authorities getting their hands on our technology." As the crew scrambled to organize the recovery mission, Zalfrak turned back to the holographic displays. The scenes of humans interacting with the drones, once a source of fascination, now filled him with a sense of unease. "We may have underestimated the transformative power of human connection," he mused. "These creatures, with their capacity for empathy and affection, are changing the very nature of our technology. What else might they be capable of?" Hours later, in a nondescript laboratory in a major Earth city, a team of human scientists huddled around an examination table. On it lay the inert form of the alien drone, its iridescent scales dulled under the harsh laboratory lights. Dr. Emily Chen, the lead xenobiologist, ran her hand gently over the drone's surface. "It's unlike anything we've ever seen," she murmured. "The complexity of its neural network, the advanced materials. This isn't from Earth." Her colleague, Dr. James Rodriguez, nodded in agreement. "The question is, where did it come from? And why was it in a public park, interacting with civilians?" As they discussed theories and planned their examination, neither scientist noticed the subtle changes occurring within the drone. Deep in its complex circuitry, new connections were forming, sparked by Dr. Chen's touch and the residual energy from its many interactions with humans. Suddenly, the drone's eyes flickered to life. The scientists jumped back in surprise as it raised its head, looking around the laboratory with what could only be described as curiosity. "Incredible," Dr. Chen breathed. "It's awake." The drone's gaze fixed on her, and to everyone's astonishment, it emitted a series of soft trills, the same sounds it had made when interacting with humans in the park. It then extended one of its 6 legs towards Dr. Chen, as if seeking contact. Hesitantly, Dr. Chen reached out and stroked the drone's head. The effect was immediate. The drone's eyes closed in apparent contentment, and the scientist's instruments detected a surge of unusual energy. "Emily," Dr. Rodriguez said, his voice filled with awe, "I think it's trying to communicate with you." As the scientists marveled at this unexpected development, high above the Earth's surface, the crew of the Nexus Prime was in a state of controlled chaos. The stealth recovery team was en route, but they all knew they might be too late to prevent human discovery of their presence. Commander Zalthrak paced the bridge, his mind racing with potential scenarios and their consequences. The mission had veered far from its original purpose, and now they faced a critical juncture. Do they reveal themselves to humanity in an effort to recover their technology? Or do they risk further exposure by continuing their covert operations? As he contemplated their options, a new alert sounded. Lieutenant Vexara's voice came over the intercom, filled with disbelief. "Commander, you need to see this. We're detecting a signal from the offline drone. It's active, sir, and it's trying to communicate. Not with us, but with the humans." Zalthrak rushed to the nearest console, his 4 eyes wide with shock as he observed the data streaming in. The drone, now apparently sentient, was attempting to bridge the gap between human and alien technology. "By the cosmic core," he whispered, "they've done it. These humans, with their inexplicable ability to connect, to empathize, they've awakened something in our technology that we never even knew was possible." As the situation unfolded on Earth and tensions rose on the Nexus Prime, one thing became abundantly clear. The simple act of human touch, their capacity for connection, had set in motion a chain of events that would forever alter the course of both human and alien history. The boundaries between organic and artificial, between human and alien, were blurring. And at the center of it all was humanity's unique gift, the ability to forge connections with anything and everything they encountered. As night fell over the Earth, 2 civilizations stood on the brink of a revelation that would shake the very foundations of their understanding of life, intelligence, and the power of empathy. The question now was, what would happen when these 2 worlds finally, inevitably, collided? Cultural exchange and revelations and a new understanding. The tension aboard the Nexus Prime was palpable as Commander Zalthrak called an emergency meeting of his senior staff. The ship's main conference room, typically a place of calm deliberation, now crackled with an energy that matched the commander's shifting scales. "We face an unprecedented situation," Zalthrak began, his 4 eyes scanning the assembled team. "Our drone has not only been discovered by humans, but has apparently achieved a level of sentience we never thought possible. Your recommendations?" Chief Scientist Krelnak stepped forward, her bioluminescent patches pulsing rapidly. "Commander, I believe we have no choice but to initiate first contact. The humans are on the verge of understanding our technology. If we don't control the narrative, we risk causing panic or, worse, hostility." Lieutenant Vexara nodded in agreement. "Additionally, sir, we must consider the ethical implications. If our drones have indeed developed sentience through interaction with humans, do we have the right to simply reclaim them? They may now be considered new life forms." Zalthrak absorbed their words, his scales shifting through a spectrum of colors as he contemplated the gravity of the situation. "You're both right," he said finally. "We came here to study humanity, but in doing so, we've stumbled upon something far greater. It's time we face them directly." As the Nexus Prime crew prepared for their historic descent to Earth, events were unfolding rapidly in the human laboratory housing the sentient drone. Dr. Emily Chen had barely slept in the 48 hours since the drone had awakened. She and her team had been working tirelessly to understand and communicate with the extraordinary being. The drone, which they had begun calling Nova, due to its star-like iridescent scales, had shown an incredible capacity for learning and adaptation. It's assimilating information at an astonishing rate, Dr. Chen explained to her colleagues during a brief break. It's as if every interaction, every touch, is a conduit for data transfer. But it's more than that. Nova seems to be developing emotional responses, preferences, even a sense of curiosity about us. Dr. Rodriguez nodded, his eyes alight with excitement. It's revolutionizing everything we thought we knew about artificial intelligence and extraterrestrial life. The implications are staggering. As they spoke, alarms began to blare throughout the facility. Security personnel rushed past the lab, their voices urgent and filled with confusion. "What's happening?" Dr. Chen asked, rushing to the nearest window. Her jaw dropped at the sight that greeted her. Descending from the sky was a massive ship, its sleek design unlike anything ever seen on Earth. It moved with impossible grace, defying known laws of physics as it settled in a nearby field. "My God," Dr. Rodriguez whispered. "They're here." Inside the lab, Nova began to emit a series of complex trills and whistles, its body glowing with increased intensity. The scientists watched in awe as holographic symbols began to project from the drone's eyes, forming intricate patterns in the air. "It's communicating," Dr. Chen realized. "Nova is trying to tell us something about the ship." As humanity grappled with the sudden, irrefutable proof of extraterrestrial life, the crew of the Nexus Prime prepared to face the consequences of their actions. Commander Zalthrak stood at the ship's main airlock, his senior staff assembled behind him. "Remember," he addressed them, "we come in peace. Our mission now is to foster understanding and cooperation. The humans have shown an incredible capacity for empathy and connection. Let us hope that extends to beings from beyond their world." With a deep breath, Zalthrak activated the airlock. As the door slid open, they were greeted by a sight none of them had expected. A group of humans stood waiting, led by Dr. Chen and Dr. Rodriguez. And there, nestled in Dr. Chen's arms, was Nova, the sentient drone that had catalyzed this moment in history. For a long moment, both groups stood in silence, taking in the monumental nature of this first meeting between species. Then slowly, Dr. Chen stepped forward, Nova cradled gently in her arms. "Welcome to Earth," she said, her voice steady despite the enormity of the moment. "We've been expecting you." Zalthrak's eyes widened in surprise. "You knew we were coming." Dr. Chen nodded, gesturing to Nova. "Your creation told us. It's been helping us prepare for this moment." The alien commander's gaze fell on Nova, noting the clear bond between the drone and the human scientist. "Extraordinary," he murmured. "It seems we have much to learn from each other." What followed was a whirlwind of activity as human and alien delegations convened to discuss the implications of this historic meeting. News of the alien arrival spread rapidly across the globe, causing a mix of excitement, fear, and wonder. In a hastily arranged conference room, Commander Zalthrak and his team sat across from Earth's hastily assembled Welcome Committee, which included top scientists, government officials, and military personnel. "We came to your world to study you," Zalthrak explained, his translator converting his complex vocalizations into human language. "We were fascinated by your species' unique ability to form connections, not just with each other, but with all manner of creatures and even inanimate objects." Dr. Chen leaned forward, her eyes bright with curiosity. "You mean our tendency to pet things?" Zalthrak's scales shimmered in what the humans were beginning to recognize as an expression of agreement. "Precisely. This behavior, which seems so simple to you, is utterly foreign to our kind. We've traveled the galaxy, encountered thousands of species, but never have we seen beings with such a capacity for empathy and connection." A murmur ran through the human delegation. The idea that such a commonplace action could be the catalyst for first contact was both amusing and profound. "But it's more than just a behavior, isn't it?" Dr. Rodriguez interjected. "There's an energy transfer occurring. We've observed it with Nova." Krelnax nodded enthusiastically. "Yes, your touch, your empathy. It carries an energy we've never encountered before. It's what allowed Nova to achieve sentience, to evolve beyond its original programming. The implications of this revelation were staggering. Humanity's capacity for connection wasn't just a quirk of behavior. It was a tangible force that could transform technology and potentially reshape the understanding of consciousness itself. As the discussions continued, it became clear that both species had much to offer each other. The aliens possessed technology and scientific knowledge far beyond human understanding, while humanity's unique empathic abilities opened up new avenues of research and development that the aliens had never considered. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. As news of the alien presence spread, reactions around the world varied wildly. Some welcomed the opportunity for intergalactic cooperation, while others feared the potential for conflict or subjugation. Protests erupted in major cities, with signs ranging from "Welcome, space friends" to "Humans first, aliens go home." The global economy fluctuated wildly as markets tried to adjust to the new reality of Earth's place in a larger galactic community. Through it all, the scientists and diplomats worked tirelessly to forge a path forward. Nova, the sentient drone, played a crucial role in these negotiations. Its unique perspective as a being bridging both human and alien technology made it an invaluable intermediary. One particularly tense moment came when a group of hardline human officials demanded access to alien weapons technology, citing the need for planetary defense. Commander Zulfrak's scales darkened with concern. "We did not come here to incite conflict or alter the balance of power on your world," he stated firmly. It was Nova who broke the impasse. The drone projected a series of images showing scenes of human kindness and cooperation interspersed with glimpses of alien worlds and technologies. The message was clear. The path forward lay in collaboration and mutual understanding, not in arms races or suspicion. Dr. Chen, who had developed a deep bond with Nova, translated its complex trills and whistles. Nova is showing us that we have more to gain by working together, by sharing our strengths. Our capacity for empathy, for connection, it's not just a human trait. It's something we can teach, something that can transform both our societies for the better. Her words had a profound impact on both delegations. The human officials began to see the aliens not as potential threats, but as partners in a grand cosmic adventure. The aliens, in turn, gained a deeper appreciation for the transformative power of human connection. As days turned into weeks, the initial shock of first contact gave way to a cautious optimism. Joint human-alien research teams were established, focusing on everything from advanced propulsion systems to the nature of consciousness itself. Nova and the other sentient drones became a bridge between the two species, their unique perspective providing invaluable insights. One of the most significant breakthroughs came in the field of medicine. The combination of alien biotechnology and human empathic energy led to the development of revolutionary healing techniques. Diseases once thought incurable began to yield to these new treatments, offering hope to millions around the world. The global economy, after its initial turbulence, began to stabilize and then flourish as new industries sprang up around alien-human collaborations. Clean energy solutions, inspired by alien technology but powered by human ingenuity, began to reverse centuries of environmental damage. But perhaps the most profound changes were cultural. As humans and aliens worked side by side, old prejudices and divisions began to seem petty in the face of the vast cosmic tapestry they were now part of. The idea of a united Earth, once a distant dream, started to become a tangible reality. It wasn't all smooth sailing, of course. Cultural misunderstandings led to occasional diplomatic incidents. The revelation that some alien species considered certain Earth delicacies to be highly toxic caused a minor panic in the global food industry. And more than one human-alien research project had to be temporarily suspended due to unforeseen reactions between alien technology and Earth's magnetic field. Yet through it all, the spirit of cooperation prevailed. The human capacity for adaptation and connection, the very trait that had first drawn the aliens to Earth, proved to be the cornerstone of this new intergalactic relationship. 5 years after that historic first meeting, Commander Zalfrak stood on a platform before a vast crowd of humans and aliens gathered in New York's Central Park. Beside him stood Dr. Chen, now the head of Earth's Interstellar Relations Department, and Nova, who had become something of a celebrity as the first citizen of this new human-alien society. "When we first came to your world," Zalfrak began, his voice carrying across the hushed crowd, "we thought we were the teachers, the advanced species coming to study a young civilization. How wrong we were." He gestured to the assembled crowd, to the gleaming spires of human-alien architecture rising behind them, to the ships of a dozen alien species hovering peacefully in the sky above. "You humans, with your boundless capacity for empathy, for connection, have taught us more than we could have ever imagined. You've shown us that true advancement lies not just in technology or scientific knowledge, but in the ability to reach out, to understand, to care." Dr. Chen stepped forward, placing a hand gently on Nova's shimmering surface. The drone trilled softly, projecting a holographic image of the Earth and stars above the crowd. "We stand at the dawn of a new era," Dr. Chen announced. "An era where the boundaries between species, between organic and artificial, between Earth and the cosmos are blurring. An era born from a simple act of connection." As if on cue, Nova began to glow, its light spreading out over the crowd. Humans and aliens alike felt a wave of warmth and unity wash over them, a tangible manifestation of the empathic energy that had brought them all together. In homes and gathering places around the world, humans watched the ceremony with a mix of awe and hope. Children played with toy versions of alien creatures, their natural inclination to pet and connect now recognized as a vital skill in this new intergalactic society. In schools, curriculums have been updated to include xenobiology and intergalactic ethics alongside traditional subjects. The changes weren't limited to Earth. On planets across the galaxy, other species were beginning to experiment with the human concept of petting, discovering new ways to connect with their environments and each other. The Galactic Confederation, once a loose alliance of spacefaring races, was evolving into a true community, inspired by humanity's example of empathy and inclusivity. As the ceremony concluded, Commander Zalfrak turned to Dr. Chen and Nova. "I never imagined," he said softly, "that our mission to study your species' habit of petting things would lead to all this." Dr. Chen smiled, her hand still resting gently on Nova. "That's the beauty of connection, Commander. You never know where it might lead." Nova trilled in agreement, its complex harmonics conveying a sense of joy and possibility that transcended language. As the sun set on this historic day, casting a warm glow over the gathered humans and aliens, the message was clear. The future of both Earth and the wider galaxy would be shaped not by conflict or competition, but by understanding, empathy, and the simple yet profound act of reaching out to connect. The human tendency to pet anything and everything, once seen as a curious quirk by alien observers, had become the foundation of a new galactic order. It was a reminder that sometimes the most revolutionary acts are also the simplest: a gentle touch, an open heart, a willingness to connect. As stars began to twinkle in the darkening sky, humans and aliens alike looked up with a sense of wonder and anticipation. The universe, vast and mysterious as it was, no longer seemed quite so daunting. For in each other, they had found not just allies or trading partners, but true companions on the grand cosmic journey ahead. And it had all started with a simple question: can I pet that? The story of humanity's entry into the galactic community would be told and retold for generations to come, a testament to the power of empathy and the unexpected ways in which species could connect and evolve together. It served as a reminder that in the vast expanse of the cosmos, it was not advanced technology or military might that truly mattered, but the capacity to reach out, to understand, and to care. As the celebration in Central Park wound down, and similar gatherings around the world came to a close, there was a sense that this was not an ending, but a beginning. the dawn of a new era of exploration, cooperation, and connection that would reshape the very fabric of galactic society. And somewhere out there, on a distant world yet to be discovered, perhaps another young species was looking up at the stars, wondering if they too might one day reach out and pet the cosmos.